Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well and all of you are safe and healthy. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about three things that will become clear as you heal more and more after narcissistic abuse. So, the first thing that you will realize when you are on this journey of healing from narcissistic abuse is your own attachment traumas and your own the conditioning of your mind that you have been playing out in all your relationships, in the world, how you relate to the world, etc. So, to go a little bit in detail of this, if you have not heard or studied about attachment trauma, that's how we have attached to our caregivers when we were kids, right? And there are four main types. The first one is secure attachment. So, if you are on this channel, I'm guessing you don't have secure attachment because people who have secure attachments usually don't fall for narcissists. But then always there's always exceptions. So, secure attachment is when a child grew up in an overall safe, stable, and balanced family, and the parents were very balanced themselves. So the child has secure attachment. So the child feels safe, seen, heard, understood in relationships. They don't overgive, they don't undergive, they don't overtake, they don't undertake. Everything most of the time is in balance. Obviously, there will be times it goes up and down, no one's perfect, but overall, they won't fall into such a big trap of narcissism that they actually have to go and research it. It'll be something in the passing that they can just ignore and move on. So, that is secure attachment. The rest of the styles are anxious attachment styles or like imbalanced attachment styles. So the first one is anxious preoccupied. So this is like enmeshment with the caregiver, where the person doesn't know who they are, where they stop, where the caregiver begins. It's all like a spaghetti ball, together. So that's the first one. The second one is dismissive avoidant, where the child was not taken care of emotionally at all, and the child had to grow up very quickly, and the child had to learn very quickly to take care of themselves, soothe themselves. So, for them, relationships do not really give them anything emotionally. Relationships only take from them emotionally, and so these kind of people usually prefer to be alone, not in a committed relationship, not give it label of a marriage or get into a contract like a marriage, just maybe open relationship, etc. So that is the second kind, and the third kind is fearful avoidant. So these kind of people are the people who had both. So sometimes the parents were enmeshed within them, all in their business. Other times the parents completely ignored them and left them to self soothe, or left them to like fend for themselves emotionally, etc. So the fearful avoidant is always seesawing between these two attachment styles. So they want a relationship, but they fear a relationship because they fear either getting lost in the relationship or getting abandoned, getting betrayed, etc. So it's very confusing for the fearful avoidant. So, what will happen is as you heal from narcissistic abuse, you will slowly start understanding that, oh, I was an anxious, preoccupied. I always needed someone with me. I was very clingy, to people, and I wanted to hold on to them, not let them go. Or you might realize that I was actually kind of like cold towards whoever the person was that I was with, and maybe I behaved in a narcissistic way. Maybe I have a dismissive, avoidant personality style, and I didn't know that. I learned it from my dad, and I kind of treated my partner like how my dad treated either his wife or me when I was growing up, etc. So, you might also recognize some patterns of narcissism that you yourself carry, maybe from your parents or the society or conditioning, etc. So that is the first thing you will realize, that you yourself were not perfect to say, so to say, and you have a particular style in which you connect to people or you connect to the world. And maybe if you're an anxious preoccupied, you were overgiving and the other person was overtaking, and you never stopped it, you never put an end to it, because maybe you had a core wound which was like, I have to give in order to be wanted. So so you will understand your own conditioning as you heal. Then the second point is, you will realize the practicality of the world. So, most people who get abused in narcissistic situations have a history of kind of living in their own la la land, in their own fantasy, in their own kind of version of the world where people are good, people are nice. So, how they view the world, they project upon the world also. So if I am a nice person and I don't wish bad for you, they they will think everyone thinks similarly for them. So there's a naivety in understanding the world, or there is a lack of understanding of the practicality in the world. If someone is very practical, very cutthroat, there's a labeling that that's a bad person, and I don't want to be like that, or I don't want to go into that practicality of the world. So I'm not saying you have to go into it, but you have to understand it. And a lot of empaths, what they do is they completely avoid it. So they don't even want to look at it. They only want to look at like a rosy colored version of the world where everyone is nice, everyone is helping each other. It's like one big family, kind of like what teachers would teach you in kindergarten or first grade. They kind of take that worldview and carry it with them even after they have grown up. So, what the narcissistic people do is they kind of shatter this worldview that an empath might have naively, and it kind of pushes the empath to go into his or her shadow, which is that having an acceptance for the cruelty in the world, or for the meanness in the world, or for the practicality of the world, or the coldness of the world, etc. And it often is the resistance towards that comes from, again, your childhood wounds, where maybe one of your parents was extremely critical, extremely cold, extremely materialistic, and as a child that really hurt you. So you went the other way where you're giving, you're forgiving, etc. So it's again kind of related to the first point and the third point, but you get a grasp on how practically the world works and how there are different kind of people who make up this world. Everyone is not going to be how you are. Then the third point I have is owning your part of the deal. So this kind of comes, it's a combination of the first two, where it's kind of the understanding that maybe I did not understand the whole world, or the world that we live in so well, because I had like a like a tunnel vision only towards good in the world. I didn't have like a wider perspective on the world. I always avoided the bad things, and I always wanted to kind of live in my la la land, or like a fantasy nice world, which I probably did not have growing up. But because I was a grown up, I wanted to kind of force fit that worldview upon the world that I'm watching. And that doesn't work with narcissistic people, because they will kind of shatter that worldview and bring you to a realization that there are very materialistic and mean people in the world who will take advantage of anyone who is